Cusco, we had originally planned to go to Brazil via Puerto Maldonado and then down to Uruguay. But because Peru has quietened down in the past 2 months, we decided to drive through Bolivia instead, which is also 2,000 kilometers shorter in distance to Uruguay. So after leaving Cusco, we head towards Puno, a city we visited 21 years ago. We only spend one night here and take a boat trip to the floating reed islands of the Uros the next morning. That same day, the border at Kasani reopened for the first time in months after the protests, and so we cross it at night and arrive in the dark at Copacabana, where we take a much-needed rest for 5 days. Just 25 kilometers southeast of Cusco, we make a quick photo stop at the La Portada Rumicolca. The most recent theory suggests that La Portada was originally built as an aqueduct by the Wari, a pre-Inca civilization that existed from about 550 to 900 AD.
So we're doing a little sightseeing along the way. Andahuaylillas. It's supposed to be a very beautiful church here. But of course, like everywhere else in Peru, it's not easy driving. Let's see if we can make that corner here. I'll check if there's any traffic.
Both ways.
You're okay, you're okay. There's only a bicycle. Can you make that corner?
Am I alright on your side?
Yeah, you've got plenty of space. You've got 30 centimeters, you're good. Yeah, you can go a little straight. Jetzt musst du turn.
I can't. I'm going to hit the corner.
Yeah, perfect. This is the famous church. It's one of the oldest in the country. Unfortunately, I didn't take any money with me. It's 15 soles to get in, and it's pure gold inside. Very beautiful.
The church is nicknamed the Sistine Chapel of the Andes and was built by Jesuits in the 16th century over a pre-Columbian ceremonial space.
I don't know what it is. I don't know either. No idea what this is. This is the town of Tio. Tio with double T. And lots of topers with one T. Totopers.
Totopers into Tio.
So we're on our way to Puno, and we're driving through this beautiful scenery with peaceful villages, cows next to the road, sheep. And it's a Sunday. It's actually a public holiday tomorrow, so it's quiet on the roads, no trucks. And Winnie2 is working well. We have no leaks in the engine. So far we're doing okay. They're driving their llamas along the railroad. So we just went over 4,350 meters. And we're going back down. It's about 200 kilometers to go to Puno. So this is Clausurada number 7 or 8. They're rebuilding the bridges here on the highway, so we have to go through these little bypasses here. It's a little bumpy, but they're doing them all at the same time. Otherwise the road is perfect. It's a really nice drive. You can see it's all been taken out. They're kind of doing the foundation again for the bridges. And we learned a new word, clausurada, which is bypass, I suppose. We're approaching Juliaca, and we're driving along this famous train line that goes straight through the town. I think they were little booths of toilets. Now it's the scrapyard right next to it.
Maybe the scrapyard.
It is such an ugly town. Yeah, these little things, are these toilets? See them? The silver things. They might be toilets because there usually is a big market along the train line. Here comes the car wash. Oh, duchas here. Duchas. The car wash signs are always sexy women, and they never are at the car washes. There aren't any women at car washes. And look at all the garbage here along the way. Somebody just dropped their litter here. Well, it's a a Sunday, the garbage removal people don't work. So now we're officially in Juliaca. Bienvenido. So we're kind of stuck here in Juliaca for the moment because all the roads are blocked. It's very difficult to tell. And these are obviously all market stands. Okay, we're officially going on the bypass. Help to get out of the town. It's not that easy to find your way through Juliaca, but we now have a sign for Puno. And I think we're on the right track. So now we're getting to the outskirts of Juliaca, and this must be the modern part of Juliaca. Brand new roundabout, more or less. The buildings look really modern. I think these are the most modern buildings I've ever seen in Peru. Even Lima can't cope with it. What do you think? That looks amazing. Here's another example of a taken down piaje. Holy shit.
Puno region was one of the most problematic after ex-President Pedro Castillo was impeached and imprisoned in December last year. He's very popular with the indigenous people of the Andes, and the protests were very violent and led to a lot of deaths in this region.
We think Puno is much, much, much bigger than 20 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Puno! I didn't film it, but we found a road that isn't as steep as San Francisco to get down to the almost lake level. I don't recognize Puno at all anymore. This is a huge city now. When we were here 21 years ago, it was really small.
Yeah.
Now we're at the harbour.
I need to go across the island and then left.
Yeah. Nice monument here. Here's where the boat tour go off. And we're heading for that shoreline over there. Sheep crossing the road. Something is still the old-fashioned way. So we're going on a boat trip this morning.
We checked iOverlander for tours to the Uros and decided to do a private tour with Edgar. The tour costs 28 soles per person and includes the admission fee to the islands.
So Titicaca means in Aymara puma kiss, and it's the highest navigable lake in the world with over 4,000 meters. And I think those are all the Uro Islands.
The Uros are a fascinating and unique ethnic group. Their origins are lost in history, but more than 500 years ago, the growing Inca Empire began to encroach on the Uros' mainland villages. To combat this threat, the Uros began to build the floating islands, which could be launched deep into Lake Titicaca and away from the danger. This allowed them greater security and easy access to their main resource, fishing. Currently, the Uros ethnic group is considered extinct, although some Aymaras took up this particular way of life, and it is they that can be visited today.
This is the entrance where you have to pay.
Control the tickets. These organic islands are up to 3 meters thick. They're created entirely with the buoyant and water-resistant totara reeds that grow abundantly in the shallows of the lake. They are also used to make boats, houses, roofs, mattresses, and more. The plant is also applied as medicine. Its flowers are used to make tea and eaten. The Uros playfully call it the lake banana. It tastes like non-sweet sugarcane.
There are way more islands than there used to be 21 years ago.
There are now about 120 of these constructed islands, with around 2,000 people living on them.
This is how we remember it. Just read buildings.
Edgar takes us to his family island and explains the process of construction of these islands. He says it's all his family, and I said, oh, it's a big family then. Yeah.
Edgar is explaining to us how it all works. It's 3 meters of a base. Para. Okay, for the stove they have to put a rock underneath so it's not burning. Yeah. If they don't put it in 10 minutes, it's all burnt down. Ah, yeah, so, yeah. That's his wife. That's him. His daughter.
That's Jordi.
That's Jordi. Every island has an anchor. Okay, this island here is 60 square meters and has 8 anchors.
Today you stay sleeping in the chair. It's possible tomorrow we stay for Bolivia outside.
Yeah, okay. If they don't anchor it, they wake up in a different place.
Afterwards, Kirsten's allowed to start the drone from the island to take some aerial shots. A view that we certainly didn't have 21 years ago. The islands are one of the world's most innovative feats of human engineering, and just 7 kilometers east of Puno. To build the islands, the Euros first gather large blocks of totora roots, which often float to the surface during the rainy season. Multiple blocks are pulled together, and the roots and reeds mix naturally to form a layer about 1 to 2 meters thick. To harvest the totora reed, which is laid on top of this floating base, the Euros use a long scythe-like tool to reach deep down into the water and cut the plant above the base. Then, the reeds are dried in the sun for 1 to 4 weeks and bundled together using a nylon rope. To make sure the islands don't drift away, eucalyptus rods are stuck into the bottom of the lake as anchors and are tied to the root blocks using rope. Every 15 to 20 days, the totora reeds rot and need to be replenished with fresh ones. It's a laborious, endless cycle that is essential to the islands and the Euros' survival on them. An island can last up to 30 years if it's kept in the right condition. About every 6 months, they have to lift up and move their houses and buildings so that they can add another layer to the reeds of the floating island. It's a life of hard work and long days in a harsh climate.
They love the dog.
Before we leave Edgar's Island, the kids are singing a few songs for us in different languages that they'd learned in school.
Vamos a cantar unas cuantas canciones, primero por esta luz. Buenos días, ¿cómo le va? Buenos días, ¿cómo le va? Les saludamos con alegría. Buenos días, ¿cómo le va? Buenos días, ¿cómo le va?
Bravo.
Ahora en nuestra lengua aymara. Naya huawa, taco tanquirita, mancuca pana, achipatua. Naya huawa, taco tanquirita, mancuca pana, achipatua. Ora taipi no tasiri, tata mama no tapana. Hankel yati sasti, escuela rusa la muntua. Hankel yati sasti, escuela rusa la muntua.
Muy bien, gracias. Schwimmen auf dem See. Entchen schwimmen auf dem See. Perfecto, muy bien. So they have solar panels for every single house to have the lights in the evenings. And it was really interesting because she told us a little bit about what it was like in the pandemic. They got one vaccination, but they didn't really feel very well afterwards. So they used medicine, but they were so protected out here on the islands that they didn't actually have corona cases. There's about 2,500 people here on these islands, and when we were here 10 years ago, there were about 10 islands. maybe with 50 people or something like this.
20 islands now, there were
Yeah.
10.
That is amazing. Yeah, you can stay on these islands. These are the hotel. It's the hotel section. If you want to spend the night here, apparently the night sky is spectacular. I can imagine that. Don't know how much it costs to stay here.
I presume the food will be fish.
Yeah, and potatoes. Or rice, maybe. We're going into a small canal.
This looks fairly new, but then they have to renew everything. For convenience reasons, the schools, places of worship and other common premises are built on a central island. Urban influences are evident. Solar panels power bedroom lights and small TVs. A radio station operates on the main island, and Euros offer their homes or private hospedajes on Airbnb. The main income for the Euros is tourism, fishing and bird hunting.
So now we're on our way home. We had to wait 1.5 hours or something for Edward to come back. He ran out of diesel or something.
It's supposed to be a 2-hour trip and it's turning into a 4-hour because we were left waiting.
But we enjoyed it. It's nice and warm in the sun, but it's cold in the shade. It was really interesting to come back after 21 years. It's a lot more different. Here's the volleyball match. I'm just saying 4,000 meters on a very spongy. Our boat is getting rocked by the waves. That must be so exhausting to play volleyball. There's a tiny island here with solar panels.
Starting with the blockades again.
This used to be one, I think. And because it broke up. The pavement broke up.
No, they've placed this. This is definitely placed. They're starting the blockades again. Shit.
We're moving. She's moving it out of the way too.
So,
I think
destroyed.
that's another.
Been
Yeah,
destroyed.
burnt down, destroyed. Yep. Nobody wants to pay the tolls anymore. Nasty.
So, we're still driving along Lake Titicaca, and in 39 kilometers we get to the border with Bolivia. We're trying to get to it before dark. Maybe it's open today. If not, we're just gonna stop in the border town.
So we didn't make it in daylight, but we're trying to do it in the dark. We're going slow and steady because there's too many potholes, topers and former roadblocks. It's a big concentration job here, but we will make it, I'm sure. These are former roadblocks, not easy to navigate at night. And of course the oncoming traffic is constantly blinding us. They're not taking their
Don't take their
lights off.
So, you can't see Helen, but we managed to get across the border in an hour. We're the last ones.
So now we're driving in the dark. It's 40 kilometers to Copacabana.
It's obvious that once you reach Bolivia, the roads are even worse than Peru. We're crawling with 10 kilometers an hour along here. It's pitch dark. We're the only vehicle on the road here, except for some motorbikes. Here's a tope. Tope and dogs. Hopefully no cows, horses, donkeys or whatever.
We got a little lost in the dark yesterday and ended up on top of a hill. Here you can see Lake Titicaca. We tried to get to a campground in Copacabana, but we took the wrong road.
So we're at the Costanera. It must be some kind of a holiday or something.
People are celebrating here, right on the beach.
Without Lake Titicaca, Copacabana wouldn't have much to offer. Apart from several epic viewpoints near the town, a pier from where you can take a boat trip to the near islands, and a visit to the famous basilica, there's not much to do here.
The famous basilica in Copacabana. It's a huge building.
Copacabana has approximately 6,000 inhabitants, and the Basilica of Our Lady of Copacabana is definitely worth a visit. The current building was built between 1669 and 1679 and was officially elevated to the rank of basilica in 1940. It is a shrine for pilgrims from Bolivia and South Peru, and on August the 6th, the feast of its patron saint is attended by thousands. In the early hours of Monday 22nd of April 2013, the basilica was robbed and the image of the Virgin de Copacabana was stripped of her gold and silver accessories. The Blessing of the Cars is another attraction in Copacabana. It takes place mostly on the weekends in front of the basilica. People who've bought new cars decorate them, and a priest sprinkles holy water on the engine and says a few prayers in exchange for a few Bolivianos.
And the stalls are selling everything you need for decorating your car. So the liquids are champagne, red wine and alcohol. It's like a cleaning alcohol.
Copacabana's streets are lined with food. The indigenous people sell lots of nuts, fruit and vegetables. We only spent a few hours in town, but decided to take a 5-day rest here at the Eco Lodge Copacabana campground. For 50 Bolivianos a night, roughly $7 US, we got a hot shower in one of the hotel rooms, good Wi-Fi, electricity and good drinking water. The place is easy to reach right next to Lake Titicaca and in walking distance to the town. Danilo is the very friendly manager here, and the campground is super quiet at night. Very peaceful after all the weeks in Cusco and the past few days on the road to Bolivia. In our next video, we head over the mountains to the small harbour of San Pablo de Tiquina, where we take a short and adventurous ride on a ponton boat across the small gap that connects the two parts of Lake Titicaca. Afterwards, we drive straight to El Alto and visit La Paz, one of the most fascinating cities in the world.
Das ist ja super.
We're going all the way up.